Are wanting to know who you are. That there are lots of people that are familiar with you already, but for those that may not know, who is Swiry? Who would you say is Swiry?
First of all, Swiry is an African, a Black woman who is so much in touch with her roots. And Swiry is just a Black woman that wants to see the world going back into Indigenous ways so that everybody can be happy. Because from what I've studied myself, I've realized that living the Indigenous way, literally there's so much happiness in it. And most of the happiness that we are out here chasing is an illusion. So personally, my job, I wouldn't even tell you I went to university or blah, blah, blah. Those are not my identity. My very identity is the fact that I'm a Black woman who is drawing other Black women to know themselves. Yes. Because I know the moment Black women do it, the entire world is set. Literally, that is what I believe.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, getting to know yourself.
Yeah, getting to know yourself. So that is what I'm all about.
And did you have to do this, for some of us, we have to kind of do that journey a little, but did you do it? Did you know yourself as African woman straight away when you were young? Or did you have to do that journey a little bit later? Because some of us have to do the work in our teens or our early teens, but some people know straight on, like straight up.
Personally, I believe that I look at my life as someone who was a gift to the universe from my ancestors, to my bloodline, okay? Because ever since I was a child, and it was hard, I would say, from your question, I would answer that there were times being spiritual has been easy, and that has been towards the end. But then it was always hard. Like, personally, I remember how hard it has always been to stand up for yourself and to be authentic in yourself in a world that requires you to hate yourself. So personally, from childhood, I've always loved myself. I've always believed in myself. Because somehow, even though I was not being told, I was born curious about who I was. I was born with an inner knowing that I am great. And so every time I was observing the world outside of me and seeing it is not matching what was within me, then I struggled with that. That is the only thing I struggled with until it reached a point. I think when you're listening to the weather, I think it has reached points where being spiritual is becoming more easy.
Yeah.
But from the beginning, to me, it has been very hard. But then we are here. Where now it is easy. It is now the order of the day, and I'm glad that I held on up to this point, because now it is only up from here.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Jen. I get that. It's like it's that journey that you got to do for when you're young, and
yes.
do the work. You have to continuously keep doing the work until you get to where you are, and like, yes, now I can do it. Thank you.
Yes.
And so, Swiry, you do so much. What projects are you working on currently?
Currently, there's a lot of avenues that I want to explore as an individual. And from where I'm seated right now, I'm just at a point because I've come from a place of survival, okay? A place where I was doing things because I needed to pay bills. I was doing things because I needed to survive. But then now I'm at a point where now I need to thrive. And, when it comes to thriving, then I'm at a point where I haven't really moved into places where now I'm doing something tagged to my name. But I am content creation, first of all, is something that I'm measuring on. I do the simplest of things. I go live on TikTok. I answer people's questions. I just connect one-on-one with as many people as I can in my simpleness of doing things. As I think of, ways to also thrive, because I want to do podcasts. I want to be in the mainstream.
Okay.
I want to be in the mainstream so that I supply the fresh water, because there are people supplying the salty water. And now I want to be there to also supply the fresh water. And it takes effort, it takes growth. And I am walking slowly and I'm meeting people along the way, and we are going together. So that is where I am at.
Oh, fantastic. And the journey, like, to become a content creator and actually be in your purpose, like, you know, we are all called to have the purpose. And do you feel that you were called to this purpose that you're doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I'm telling you, life has been so difficult. Life was so difficult being spiritual on my own. I was always alone. Even the content that I talk about right now on TikTok that is going viral, I was talking about it. I had been talking about it, but then I was just a frog that was making noise in the middle of the desert and there was nobody to hear. And then when this platform called TikTok, the first time I saw it, the first thing that clicked in my mind, because I always believed that there's a place I'm going. I will not talk to myself for the rest of my life. I always believed that. And so when I saw TikTok, it was almost like the time, the clock, like that is the first thing that hit my mind. Like, it is time, baby, it is time. And so I started talking now on TikTok, and that's how I just found people who are now listening, who are now listening to what I was saying. But previously to that, I was making noise in the middle of nowhere. Nobody was listening to it. I was being frustrated at some point because I was just like, I believe in myself. I believe in what I am trying to bring out. But then getting to a point where I'm getting the people, the correct people to listen to it is what was difficult. But then once I got there, the wheels started turning and turning now.
And they're turning. Fantastic. So you found your platform and you found your people and you found your tribe. Fantastic.
Yes.
Swiry.
Yes.
I wanted to ask your philosophy. What is your philosophy? I mean, we're talking about healing and going forward as a people, you know. In my life, it might be obvious to others, but in my particular life, that thing about knowing, loving and accepting yourself, that came very late down the line. What is your philosophy, or some of your philosophies in life?
But the philosophies that I will tell off my head right now, I have so many, but now the ones that really carry the day for me, first of all, as I walk on this particular planet, as within must always be so without. Like, let the will of my ancestors be done outside of me as it is already within me. So I'm always looking for that match. It must be done outside of me as it is already within me. So I do not look to be changed by what is outside of me, but I'm looking to align with what is outside of me that is matching that is within. That is how I walk on this planet. The moment there's a mismatch, I just adjust my proximity and I walk. Because also brings me to my second philosophy. I believe that the way the sky is big enough to accommodate all sorts of clouds, dark ones, light ones, all at the same time, is the same way this planet is big enough to accommodate all types of energies that want to express themselves. So personally, I allow all energies to exist around me, with me, as long as it's for the good of all and with harm to none, especially myself. So anything that now starts to harm me, now that is personal. Now I need to take action. Which brings me to my number 3, and the last one that I will say today is, do not do evil, but also do not accept evil with the same intensity of not doing evil. Because the moment you're not doing evil, but you're accepting evil, then you're doing the same. It is the same. It is the same thing you're doing. So I always live by, I will not do evil. but I will just not accept it also with the same intensity. Meaning, the way I respect myself, the way I love myself, I expect people to do that as well, and I will do the same to them. And anybody that is disrespecting me, then I just believe that they also disrespect themselves, because you are not able to do to another what you're not able to do to yourself. So if I'm somebody who I respect myself, I will not disrespect people easily. But if I'm somebody who is disrespecting myself, then I will have no problem disrespecting people. And so I adjust my proximity to such kind of individuals that are not aligned with my own energy, so that I walk in a path that is true to me, hence my ancestors. So that's what it is.
Yes, I saw that video that you did about your ancestors. I loved it. The
Yeah.
video that you talked about your ancestors and how we always focus on the negative,
Yeah.
your families, but we don't always look at the positives. And I went to Ghana over the New Year, and I didn't know my great grandmother, and I read her bio, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. Oh my gosh, I'm like so it's been funny when you start realizing, when you start knowing your family and your ancestors, and you start realizing, oh, I can dance because there's loads of them in the family could do this, and you have to put the positive stuff, and I'm calm because they were calm, and but we always focus on the bad stuff rather than focusing on the good stuff. Like today, the lady said today, we owe it to our ancestors to live well, you know. We owe it.
Exactly.
We have to live well, So
Yeah.
for that quick.
We owe it to our ancestors to rest. We owe it to our ancestors to respect ourselves. We owe it to our ancestors to love who we are. We owe it to them, yeah.
What would you recommend to someone who the concept of connecting to ancestors is quite new to them? Because some people don't understand it, or they've been told it's wrong. Some people were like told ancestors are ghosts, so don't get into that whole area. So how would you recommend to someone who's new to that concept of connecting to the ancestors?
I love that question very much, because I am a microbiology major. I studied genetics, I studied molecular biology. And so one thing that particular path helped me to comprehend is who our ancestors are exactly. Now I want you to look at your body. Your body did not drop into this planet from space. Your body followed a particular channel of specific ancestors up to this particular point. And it is their genetic material that they gave to you, that you carry as your DNA right now, meaning your vessel. When they say the body is the temple, your vessel is a gift to you from your ancestors. So when you are talking to ancestors, you're just talking to the intentions that came before you, the intentions that were there in the past, the intentions that have been there since the beginning of time. That were you, because you are the one who is the memory card of those intentions. And so every time you're talking about to your ancestors, you just, this body that was born in this particular dimension, it has not been maybe to some places, but what about the bodies that contributed to it? They have been to places you've not been. They have had experiences you've not had. They saw the things you haven't seen. They know the places you don't know. And so they have interacted with energies that you have no idea. So taking advantage of that connection, taking advantage of that invisible, microscopic connection that you have with nature, that is what is referred to as ancestral. And so anybody who is maybe of logical mind that can't really seem to think beyond dead, because anyway, let me not get into that. Anybody that can't think beyond dead and ancestors, they should think in terms of science, the genetics of it. Because when we are talking about ancestors, we are referring to the genetic material. And so when you're talking, when you talk ill of your ancestors, it means that maybe you think you're dropped from space, like you did not follow a particular line. You did not follow a particular. Some people ask, where do we come from? We come from the vaginas and the vaginas and the vaginas and the vaginas. Continuous portals of our ancestors. And so that is literally what it is. And literally it might sound simple until you start practicing, until you start talking to this body and showing it asking it to show you where your ancestors have been, asking it to show you the wisdom that was carried, asking it to show you, to remember, to remember. Remember is like getting back into membership with your ancestors. So that is what it is. I hope that is comprehensible.
It is. Thank you so much. So if you don't believe the other way, go through science. A lot of people like science, so go through the science route.
Yes. And I think that is even the reason why my ancestors gave me the path, because science is spirituality. There's no separation between science and spirituality. So that is literally, they are so connected. It's just that the wordings are different, but they are so the same. Yeah.
And so how can we start to heal? Is there some advice? I guess it's probably different for different people, but what would you say in terms of how we could start that journey?
When it comes to the topic of healing, like the question that I think I've been preparing for is how Africans and Indigenous people can heal from trauma. All right, that was like the main topic of this thing, and I have divided this particular topic into like 3 very important topics so that you understand what healing is. First of all, before you even understand how to heal from trauma, you have to understand the wordings themselves.
What is healing?
Yeah, to heal. To heal is, I wrote some notes here, so when you see me looking down,
we've got our notes, don't worry.
The healing is the state of being free. Healing is the state of being free from disease. Okay? It is the state of being free from disease. And it takes us to another definition. What is disease? Disease is the opposite of ease. Like advantage, disadvantage, ease, disease. Okay? So to heal is to come from a state of disease into state of ease. Disease can come, we have the body, we have the soul, and we have the spirit. All right? All of these are connected. And so therefore, for you to be able to heal, when you're somebody who is in a state of disease, first of all, you have to understand how disease gets to you. Because some people are dealing with diseases that are not even yours in this particular lifetime. The same way I've said, nobody gets here dropped from space. People pass through ancestral lines, and these ancestral lines have their own baggages and their own diseases that they come with, that you as a descendant, you are meant to transcend. So first of all, you have to comprehend what is a disease. Like the way I've said, it is the opposite of ease. Everybody knows ease. Ease is the state of non-resistance. You feel good. You are flowing. You are okay with the way things are going. And so you don't feel discomfort and stuff like that. So diseases, we have the disease of the body, we have the disease of the soul, and we have the disease of the spirit. The disease of the body does not exist unless the disease of the spirit exists. The body is the manifestation of what is going on in the spirit realm. So when you see it in your physical reality, know that it already has roots in your spiritual reality. And what is your spiritual reality? Your spiritual reality is the microscopic reality of your interaction with your environment. How you are interacting with the environment that you are placed in. Is it toxic to you? How is it affecting you? Is it making you grow? Is it making you bloom? Or is it making you stand and stagnant? So those are the things that you need to know. No disease just appears from nowhere. All diseases have roots in the spiritual arena, and the spiritual arena is in your interaction with your environment. That is what it is, okay? And so it brings me to the second topic, which is the reception of how do you get disease, okay? You are born pure, okay? Not everybody's born pure because we are born into lineages. And we have hereditary things, okay? So the way you're born into that particular reality that you're on, in biology, we have something that is called lock and key. In biology, we have something called lock and key. And when you study immunology, you realize that no disease, because diseases are caused by microbes, microorganisms. And in the spiritual arena, diseases are caused by the things that we do that we are not talking about, the things that people are not saying, the feelings that people are not doing. Sometimes somebody has a feeling towards you, or you have a feeling towards someone, you're not talking about it. These are the microscopics, the microbes. But then in microbiology, we were taught that microbes are everywhere. Like right now, even where I'm seated right now, if I was to go test this air in the lab, microbes are there everywhere. Yeah. But then for a microbe to attack you, you must have a receptor for it. If you don't have a receptor, it will not have a place to attach itself in your subconscious. You comprehend what I'm saying? Yes, you must have a reception. Like, for example, me. If somebody comes here and tells me, hey, you're so ugly, but I don't believe that I'm ugly. I don't have a receptor for it. It will not affect me. But if somebody comes and tells you that and you already think you are, it means you have a receptor for it. And so that is how microbes, and when I talk about microbes, I don't want you to look at just science. Look at the microbes in the interactions of people, the comments people throw around, you know, the things people say about one another. Those are the microscopics. And so anything that you have a receptor for, it will trigger you. And when it triggers you, it means it pins you against yourself. The things that people say outside, it pins you against yourself. And when it pins you against yourself, then you start to move towards disease, because now there's a conflict within. It's okay to have conflicts outside, but the moment you have conflicts within, then that is how you start moving towards disease and away from ease. All right? And now it brings me to trauma. First of all, now how to heal from trauma after you've known how disease comes about. Now we have genetic trauma. To enter a state of disease and not know, that is trauma. Trauma is to enter a state of disease and not know how to transcend and get back to ease. You develop trauma when you enter a state of disease, and now you cannot develop the mental openness to transcend that state of disease so that you can get back into ease. That is what keeps you in trauma. And the traumas can be passed even along genetic lines, beliefs of your family, the things that your family believed, that you're holding on to. Sometimes they can be detrimental to your own growth. So you must let them go. And the process of letting them go, that is the process of transcending trauma, so that you are able to move. You've let go of all the heavy burdens. They call them heavy burdens. You let go of the bags so that you move. Now, how to heal trauma? How do you heal trauma? This is where the moment you found yourself in the state of trauma, which I will say a lot of Black people by default, you're born into a world and the first thing you hear is you are slaves. You know, you're born into a world and the first thing you hear is you're inferior. You're born into the world and the first thing you hear is that people that look like you are not pleasing to the world. So those already are problematic situations that you have to transcend. And the easiest way to transcend trauma is develop the relationship with your ancestors. And when I say ancestors, it's your body. Because your body is God. Your body has been through everything that you think. Your body is very ancient. Your body has been there since the beginning of time. It knows the way. So how you transcend trauma is listen to your body. Your body will even tell you when you enter into rooms that you're not supposed to be there.
Yes, I know. Your
body will tell you. Your body will tell you that you're forgetting something. Your body will tell you. It will always. So listen, develop a relationship. And how do you develop a relationship? Can you listen to someone you don't love? You cannot. Can you listen to someone you don't respect? You cannot. Can you listen to someone you mistreat? Someone you subject to situations of violence? You cannot. So the first thing is develop a relationship with your ancestors, your body. And then once you know the relationship between you and your body is amazing, to the point when you get in front of the mirror, you love yourself. You love what you see. Then listen to that body. Listen to that body like a slave listens to the master. You know, some of these things that we are taught in the Bible are just upside down of the science of the body. Because when they say slaves respect your master, they're just talking about the consciousness, the temporary consciousness. Your consciousness is temporary. You might be 40 years old or 20 years old. That's a temporary consciousness that is inside a vessel that is eternal. This vessel is eternal. And so when that consciousness that is within must listen to this body has been to where you've not been. And you have to know that. You have to acknowledge that. And you have to be humble about that fact. Yes. So that is trauma. When it comes to dealing with trauma, you deal with it like that. It is all about going back within yourself, knowing yourself and transcending every noise. Outside noise is a lot, my friend. Outside noise is a lot.
I think that was powerful in terms of trauma and body. Yeah, that was powerful. How would you begin to listen to your body? Because, you know, we're so used to not listening to our bodies.
Yes.
We're used to listening to the outside world and what everyone else says. What would be the first thing someone can do to actually start to listen to their body? Like, what's the little thing they could do?
Confidence. You must be confident in yourself. There's no other, like, no shortcut. There's no shortcut. You must get to a point where you and your body are friends. You must cultivate. And it takes, spiritual things are very gradual. When you plant a seed, it takes time for it to even, grow. So you have to know that spiritual things are very gradual. And so you have mathematics. You have 24 hours every day. 24 hours every day. If you make sure that 24 hours a day, you are developing and cultivating a relationship between you and your body. And you make sure that that goes on for 365 days, where energy grows automatically. Where energy grows. And so that is why our ancestors used to say the day is the same as the body and is the same as the year. What you do in the day, repetition, there's power in repetition. What you do in the day and you repeat is what swells into the year. And that is what transforms your body. And so you have to be intentional every day when you wake up in the morning. You think about the relationship that you have between you and your body, and you make sure you make it better every single day. You can start from anywhere. You can start from you never loving yourself at all to just making sure you love yourself even 1 minute every day. If you never love yourself at all every day, just start gradual. The universal things are gradual, and as you gradually move, you will notice the answers, and it will encourage you naturally. Nobody will need to follow you around. The moment you start universal things, it is gradual. So if you are somebody who you never respect yourself, you never love yourself even once a day, try it even 1 second every day. 2 minutes every day. 5 minutes every day. You try until the time that the equilibrium will shift. So that the times that you're loving yourself are more than the times you're not. Because also know that it is a gradual process, and always just work with mathematics, logical mathematics. If you're somebody who you love yourself once a week, make sure it is twice a week, and then thrice a week, and then 4 times a week, and then 5 times, and then until you reach 7 times a week. And when you graduate to 7 times a week, I will not need to tell you, you will see the answers by yourself. Nobody will need to convince you. Yes.
Yes.
It makes so much sense, when it has, as you've explained, the body is 75% water. Water's intelligent, it's got memory. If you're not working, holistically with yourself, do you know what I mean? It's like you're at a disadvantage straight away, Exactly. It's one of the reasons that I work with the drum to try and heal, because my background, I've come from, the time when our parents came from Africa, and they put their children with certain families. Why they work? Because they came over to the UK to give their children, their families, a better life. But in that, they had to leave their children in the care of people that didn't necessarily care for them.
Yes.
And so it's working from that, and trying to, manage things, but at the same time share experiences with other people, you know, in ways that we can heal and support each other.
Yes.
So I totally understand that where you're coming from.
No, I get it. For me, I think it was 2009. I remember looking in the mirror one day and went, "Who are you? I don't recognize you. Like, I don't know who this person is." And I had to go from, I don't like this version of myself. Like, I'd gone from ease to disease, what you're talking about. I remember, because it was easy. It was cool. I was enjoying life. And then one minute I woke up and went, I don't like my life right now. I don't like where I've got to. What am I doing? And as soon as I said it, things started happening to allow me to gradually. So like you said, it is a very gradual process, and it's developing patience. You have to be patient with yourself, that compassion, that grace. And sometimes you're not going to do that well. And you just like, tomorrow try again. Tomorrow try again. Yeah, I didn't do too well today. I slipped, and try again tomorrow, you know. And it is, like you said, the gradual. And then when I went to Ghana January, and I went, I've come home to myself. Yeah, I actually now, you know what, I like you now. Yeah. I'm happy. I've made it. I've done it.
I love that.
There's still work to be done, but you know what? I'm on the other side. I'm on that side. It's like, but it's
moving. There's still a lot of work to be done, but at least there's movement. There's movement.
And you'll recognize when you suddenly go, I'm nearly there. I'm good. I'm actually all right. I've done the work, you know, but it is a lot of work, and you have to be committed. But you need the community. You need to find the right people, because there are some, I call them spiritual bandits that pretend they're going to help you. And they will give you these false information. And they
the world is a jungle.
Rather than listening to yourself. So, you know, you have those spiritual bandits that, you know, so listening to yourself is really important, and know what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Yes, it's always good to listen to yours, because, you know, spirituality, first of all, I will tell you, I always encourage people and my friends not to be gullible, because when we talk about spirituality, know that it is the way of life. And we come from different lineages, and people know the way of life different. There are people grow in different families, and their way of life is different. The way of life of a cactus cannot be compared to the way of life of a fan. So you have to comprehend that spirituality is the way of life. It is a jungle, literally. It's the way the trees, they grow wildly. And so protecting yourself must always be at the forefront of the list. And trusting your body, because once you don't trust your body, when you walk outside there with the mentality of wanting to trust other people more than yourself, then you're setting yourself up. It's always trust yourself, and then you will meet other people who trust themselves. When you move with the people who trust themselves as you trust your own self, it's easier, and you will not gravitate towards a state of dis-ease, because also you will not also be attached. Okay, you'll be connected, but you're not attached to people, so that you're allowing yourself to bloom in whichever directions that life is taking you to. But the moment you walk thinking, it is religion that has corrupted people so much, because religion is teaching, you know, a way to trust people blindly. It is teaching people to, you know, fellowship, always be together in each other's energy at all the time, and it is a mass and stuff like that. But no, spirituality is actually all one. Like when you are alone is when you are all one. And the moment you're interacting with people, and that is why fasting is very essential, because fasting is not just from food, it is also from energies around. Like just going silent sometimes. Being alone with your energy sometimes, are away from people. Those are the things that are called spiritual practices. Okay. But this thing of being in each other's energies all the time, it can be contaminating. And people just be careful. Listen to your body. Our bodies know. Our bodies know. Our bodies know. Yeah.
You mentioned spiritual rituals. So what are some of your rituals that you do for yourself?
Okay, so personally, I like defining things first before I get into it, so that people don't miss whatever. So personally, to me, a ritual is an act that you carry out to remind every cell in your body where you are at that particular moment. Because sometimes you can be, and I'm sure everybody deals with this, you can plan yourself in a way that, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, but it is only 2 cells that are with you. The others are like, yo, what are you talking about? We're not there yet. Okay. Yeah. So rituals are usually the activities you carry out to tell your body that this is where we are. And you convince, if you are moving away, rituals come from the journey of Israelites from Egypt, of which I usually look at that journey as a journey that you from your excess, it was called Exodus. Walk in Luo is to leave. So the things that you do, rituals are the things that you do after you've left. Okay, we always leave. You leave a job, you leave a toxic relationship, you will leave a particular. We are always moving towards something or away from something. Okay, so when you're moving away from something or when you're moving towards something, that process of just reminding yourself that this is what we are moving towards or this is what we are moving away from. Now, those are the rituals. And me personally, I have many rituals that I do, from dancing to, I carry out libations a lot. I just carry out, there are movements I make as well. There are walks I do. Like, I just have so many things that I do according to, how my body is leading me. But my main ritual that this one I've practiced ever since I was a kid, and for the longest time I did not know why I was doing it. Every time I was sick, every time I felt sick or uneasy, my body would always tell me to go sleep in the sun, in the scorching sun. And my mom, when I was young, my mom used to have a problem with this, so I would hide from her. I would go sleep in the scorching sun somewhere else. So this, after learning biology, is when I realized how it works. Like, sometimes the sun has the capability of taking, things osmotic or through osmosis, like literally draining toxicity from your blood, like literally through osmosis, the way it is draining you moisture from the ground. You comprehend? And a lot of diseases, they thrive in moisture. So there's a way that works. So that's a ritual I always do up to today. Nowadays, now I do it confidently. But when I was young, my mom used to have a problem so much with it. But I did it always. Every time I was sick, I would go and lie down in the scorching sun until my body would burn. Wow. And then I would always feel better after that, like always, even up to today. So those are some of the things that I do.
It's funny. One of my rituals since I was young is writing. When I'm angry, get the paper and just write it out. Literally, I still do it to today. So for me, writing was always the ritual that helped me manage emotions. It was always the one that I did. And then dance and writing were the 2 things since I was young that I've always done. And I didn't know why, but I realized when I stopped dancing and writing, that's when I realized I said I didn't recognize myself, because I had stopped dancing, I had stopped writing. And they were the 2 of the rituals I'd always done since I was young. And then when I had stopped doing them, I was like, who are you? You don't dance, you don't write.
Yeah.
What's going on here? So yeah. So we know, like you said, our bodies, we do things from when we're young that we know, and we do it because our body tells us to do it. Then adults are like, why are you doing that? Stop it. And then you listen to them and you stop it. And then you lose yourself because you're not doing what naturally you.
Exactly. Body always knows. Yes. The body always knows. And when we trust it, it's and most of the time you have to make sure that it is your energies only, because sometimes when you have other energies in your energy field, those ones can also influence your decision making. This is why we recommend spiritual cleansing, spiritual cleanliness, because cleanliness is next to godliness. So always just being clean of your own energies and always making sure that, okay, right now I'm not compromised. Those are the times you make the best decisions.
Is that what they call intuition?
Intuition. Yeah. Literally, it is, because intuition can be compromised by energies, especially when something is plugged into you. There's so much connection between microscopic organisms